In this video, you get to see how you can practically write clear, actionable sustainability requirements that get results in your request for proposal. The thing with sustainability is that, well, it's one of those things that is now it's everywhere, right? Especially with aspects to do with ESG, the environmental, social, and governance, as well as the rise in greenwashing and the vague sustainability claims, all of which just means that you have to be clear about sustainability when writing your request for proposal, okay? Your RFPs. Yeah, sustainability, a big deal, right? When you're writing RFP, then the question becomes, what exactly is a request for proposal? Now look, here's the thing, okay? When you're dealing with companies, okay, like you're dealing with suppliers and all that. Now, you could just say, we have a problem and we need people to fix it. But then there are scenarios where you actually have a problem, but you want to pick somebody who gives you a better solution to that problem. So it means you're telling suppliers, or you're telling these vendors or these contractors that, look, we'd rather you write as a proposal showing how you can fix this problem. Here's the problem we have. Here are the things you want you to do, okay? So how could you, or rather, how will you do that thing? So when they write that, okay, that becomes a proposal. Now, by asking them to write those proposals, you're requesting for proposals. So that is what an RFP is all about. Because other alternative ways of doing this is just, things like competitive bidding, where you invite people to submit tenders, okay, expression of interest. Or you could just negotiate one-on-one with the supplier. So these are all ways, styles, tools, techniques that people use in procurement when they're trying to get suppliers. And before we move on, I just want to quickly point out that if you're interested in receiving this sort of content in your email, either in the form of newsletter, PDF downloads, practice exercise, or revolving around business, procurement, negotiation, contracts, all that stuff, make sure you join the Zeret Network newsletter. Okay, I've added the link, so you can check that one out and select whatever you want, right? If you are a student, like a CIPS student, so you can select which level you are in, and then you just receive material relating to those levels. If you're just a business person who's not interested in any of those student stuff, there is that choice as well. Now, moving on, let's start with some problems you may face when dealing with sustainability. And this will include, number one, the rise of greenwashing and vague claims. Now, there are a lot of companies that have been called out for greenwashing, okay? What exactly do we mean by greenwashing? Because you keep on saying greenwashing as though it's one of those things that people just know, right? So greenwashing in this case refers to making unsubstantiated claim to deceive consumers into believing that a company's product, okay, or products are environmentally friendly or have a greater positive environmental impact than they actually do. And look, that is not even complicated. I mean, all the time you see these products and they have like a label, okay? Something like, this one is eco-friendly. This one has been made from recycled whatever. Now, yeah, that's just like, how do you know that is true? How do you know that? Or do you just believe it because you see? Or even this green. Yeah, sure. So you see that, and then you believe that is true. Why? Because you saw the logo thing on the product, and so you believe that. Maybe it's a lie. Okay? So companies are doing that. Some companies do that, and those products are not even as green as they claim to be. So that is greenwashing. And the truth is, they just say that because saying that, okay, claiming that we are environmental friendly and all that stuff, if at all they aren't, because some actually are. Okay, so they do that because that will give them some social credit, because now people will look at that, especially consumers who are very sensitive to that sort of thing, and then buy the product. Anyway, number two, difficulty aligning sustainability goals with procurement process. And yeah, that's another problem, because there is the procurement and then there is the goals that you have, okay, as a company. In fact, let's say your company aims to be carbon neutral by 2030. How exactly do you translate that, okay, in a way that the suppliers you're dealing with help you achieve that goal? Or how exactly do you translate that to the procurement team such that they know the sort of suppliers they're going to be dealing with? And what if those suppliers, you could come up with a goal as a company, but that goal is not the same goal that another company has, because suppliers are actually from a different company. So how do you make it such that these goals align. The challenge for procurement team here is often aligning sustainability objectives with cost, quality, and delivery requirements. Now, the third problem that you could also face here is verifying supplier sustainability practice. Because, as we pointed out, what if those suppliers' sustainability practice or claims are not true? Okay, so that's another thing. Like, how do you verify that? That's a problem that will be that you'll need to fix. A supplier might claim adherence to ethical labor practices but lack certifications. And the certifications in this case will just depend on either the company you're dealing with, the country you're operating in. But one of the ways that you can try to sort this problem in your RFP, in your request for proposal, is having a clause or having a statement that says something like this. Suppliers must provide valid certifications such as SA 8000 or ISO 14001 or equivalent, and include a recent audit report from an accredited body. So that's a requirement that you can put in your RFP so that suppliers help in proving that they actually meet the requirements that as opposed to just saying something like suppliers must have ethical labor standards. Yeah, we do have those. How do you know? Well, you said you must have, and we've told you that we do, so that takes care of that. Anyway, another problem that you could face is vague or generic requirements. And that is just something that you want to avoid. Okay? Imagine going through a request for proposal and you see something like this. So, it says use sustainable materials. What exactly do you think the supplier is going, rather, how exactly do you think the supplier is going to respond to that when you say that they must use sustainable materials? Like, yeah, sure, we are using sustainable materials, okay? Because what exactly do you mean by that? Like, define what you want, okay? This is one of those scenarios where it's not about even performance, it's about conformance, okay? So something like products must contain at least 50% post-consumer recycled materials as certified by, a specific organization. That is going to be, easier, okay? That is going to be something that they can look at and then they say, okay, yeah, is it 50%? Is it certified by this organization? See, you can work with that. Remember, unclear sustainability requirements can lead to higher costs during implementation, audits, or post-contract adjustment. And that is the reason why you need to look at those problems, okay, and find solutions. So yeah, we've started by looking at the problems. Let's see what quick solutions to these ones before we jump into actually things to pay attention to when you're writing that RFP. Now, with solutions to those problems, the key thing here is that you have to look at sustainability. Just simplify it, okay? Think of it as building a house. That's easier, right? You're going to need a number of things. In this case, you need a solid foundation, which in this case just refer to clear sustainability criteria, strong walls, that is standardized frameworks such as the Global Reporting Initiatives or even ISO 20400, and a roof to tie it all up, okay, tie it all together. So in this case, stakeholder collaboration. Basically, here's what I'm going on about, okay? Here's what I'm on about. Define clear, measurable sustainability criteria, okay? You need to be specific, right? Okay, so this is what we want, or this is what we are going for. So you're avoiding ambiguity because that will just result into some vague responses from your suppliers or whatever it is. So you have to be clear. For instance, instead of saying reducing waste, okay, you have to be specific. So reduce packaging waste by 25% within 1 year. Number 2, use standardized frameworks, okay? Leverage frameworks like the Global Reporting Initiative, the GRI, or the ISO 20400 to create credible and consistent requirements. And so that will achieve 2 things. 1, you know what you're going for. And 2, the people who are going to respond, the suppliers in this case, have a reference point. Okay, they know that we're not just talking about sustainability from a vague perspective. We know what this particular client wants. Another solution here would be collaborate with stakeholders. In this case, you need to involve internal teams and external experts to ensure goals are aligned. And you also have support from these stakeholders. And so these are things that you actually want to have known from the beginning of that RFP. It's not, the problem here is that you don't want to put out the document and then in some page there, say that this is what you want in terms of sustainability. No. You just want it to be known, like when they're reading that RFP, okay, that RFP document, the first page, the executive summary clearly tells them where you already stand in terms of sustainability. So for example, the executive summary, you can have something like, so in this case, sustainability vision. ABC Limited seeks suppliers who demonstrate commitment to environmental stewardship, social responsibility, economic viability. Now, of course, it's executive summary, so that's just summarized, right? And you'll have to expound on it. So under your technical terms, something like that, okay? So you can have under technical requirements, you can have something like environmental standards, so let's say that's the thing. Mandatory requirements, in this case, you tell them ISO 14001, okay, the 2025 certification. Carbon footprint reporting, waste reduction targets, okay? Okay, it doesn't really mean that those things are like 2020 with 2015. Look, the point here is they know, okay? Like they know this is under the technical requirements. This is what you're going for, okay? These are the standards they're going to use to sort of evaluate this thing, which also means you have to give them the criteria you're going to use to evaluate. So in terms of sustainability, okay, that's another one you can put there. Sustainability scoring, okay, that's going to be 30% of total score. And all these will come from environmental certification, so 10%. Social responsibility programs, 10%. Innovation in sustainability, another 10%. What are we talking about here? So in this case, that, or rather those, are things that you put in your RFP. And by the way, let me just remind you that if you are struggling with like request for proposal, okay, I have 2 videos that talk about that. There is one which tells you how to write a request for proposal. There's another which shows you how to respond to a request for proposal. So they're all linked, so you can check those ones out, right? You're not just coming from what exactly is going on in your perspective. Anyway, let's move on. Getting all these things done. Now, to achieve all these, okay, to achieve all these sustainability, basically to better input sustainability requirements in your RFP, you're going to need the following. Number 1, understand sustainability in procurement, okay? And in this case, we're talking about looking at sustainability from 3 perspectives, or the 3 pillars of sustainability. So, and these are going to be, or these are environmental impact, that is carbon footprint, waste reduction. Number 2, social responsibility, okay, things like fair labor practice, okay, practices, community impact. And then you have governance, transparency, ethical business practices, basically the ESG. That's the pillar right there. Number 2, identify key sustainability goals. So for example, what is your goal? Reducing carbon emission, promoting fair labor practices, sourcing eco-friendly materials. Number 3, research and standards. Okay, you can't just make this thing up. I mean, you can, that will just be greenwashing, right? But then you need to know which standards are we going to be operating under, which ones are we going to be using as part of our, say, evaluation criteria or benchmark. So you need to have those ones. Next, crafting the requirements. And these will include writing specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, basically SMART, sustainability criteria. An example here could be supplier must provide evidence of using 30% recycled material in product packaging. Next, enforcement mechanism. Okay, so include clauses for audits, progress reports, and penalty for non-compliance. And from a practical perspective, that could look something like suppliers must submit quarterly progress reports detailing sustainability milestones achieved. And then, of course, finally, there is the cost consideration. There is a cost associated with sustainability. In fact, that's the reason why sometimes we just ignore it, because it's not necessarily the case that, it's not easy sometimes to actually convince your board or to convince the relevant parties why taking this approach is going to be good for business now, especially if they're driven by profits at the moment and they don't have the long-term view. So that can be an issue. The point here is that you need to understand the cost that is associated with sustainability. Account for initial cost, but highlight potential savings. For example, eco-friendly packaging might reduce waste disposal cost over time. And so what are you telling them? Look, If you go with that packaging, which looks as though it's expensive, it is sustainable, right? Remember, we are still going to incur disposal cost. So by doing this, you're saving on the disposal cost. So either way, we are winning. So, you're showing them what they will gain from that entire thing. Now, again, at any point, if you have any question, just let me know, okay? In fact, let me know what sort of thing you'd like to know about RFPs, and just leave them in the comment section. Let's move on. So to conclude all these, look, the assumption is that you're operating as you're part of an organization, okay? And so all this is going to take some teamwork. So it's not something that you just do on your own, which means conduct a sustainability research, okay, of your organizational goals, consult with sustainability experts, okay, or use established guidelines when in doubt. So for example, UN Sustainable Development Goals, that can be of help. Draft the requirements and validate them with both internal and external stakeholders. Include monitoring and reporting mechanism in the RFP. And finally, train your team to evaluate suppliers' responses effectively. So the point here was just for you to understand how you can incorporate sustainability in your RFP. Okay, sustainability requirements in your RFP, so that if the vendors or if the suppliers respond to that, then they are telling you they're going to fix your problem with sustainability in mind. Remember, again, as I said, okay, so there are 2 videos that you can check out, okay, so which talk about sustainability. In fact, think of it this way. If you're interested in learning more about request for proposal, you can check out these videos, okay? I've also linked them below. One talks about exactly what is an RFP, and the other one is how do you respond to an RFP. Basically, how do you write an RFP and how do you respond to one, okay? Right, see you in the next video.